I don't.
Sure.
So I just wanted to put that out there that
Excuse me.
I don't feel like there's anybody who's above the law. You commit a crime.
Unless there's Steven Seagal.
Shut up. Shut up.
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Do you think people who drive Priuses always have to go 10 miles under the speed limit?
I think the car won't go the speed limit. I think that the
I
car
got stuck behind
I feel
one.
like the car is weak and it won't. They're struggling to keep up.
Why didn't you just push it out of the way with your windshield wipers?
I got stuck behind one on the way here, going to Starbucks first.
Yeah.
And as I'm driving behind it, it's going 10 miles under the speed limit, and all I can see is little Happy Tree Bob Ross sticker, and I was just like holding onto the steering wheel, just being like, there's nothing I can do about this.
You're practicing stoicism.
There you
I'm
go.
stuck in this situation. I'm going to turn my podcast up.
You're being
and
stoic.
the moment he turned and went the other way, I laid on my horn and went, "Fuck you!" and then drove off.
You should have done it while if you didn't know this, if you honk your horn loud enough at a Prius, the sound waves will make it roll over.
It's not a smart car.
No, I do enjoy some Bob Ross. I do like a Bob Ross, but I do not enjoy a Prius.
Yeah.
Like I get so mad at these
That's where
little.
you draw the line.
I get so mad at these little cars. Oh, they drive me fucking insane because it's not safe to have a car that small. Like, I was watching a podcast and Joey Diaz was talking about a smart car, and he goes, "Yeah, it doubles as a coffin. You know, you get in a car like that, you might as well expect to be buried in it because you're gonna die on the way to work. You know,
He's the Godfather. Coffin.
I was on the interstate the other day, and I got stuck because there was a lot of traffic. I got behind a smart car, and it was doing like 41 miles an hour.
And it was shaking on the inside. It was like,
I was like, get that thing off the fucking interstate, man. Just
that can't be street legal.
take a sidewalk or something. There's a guy on There's a guy on a fucking scooter that's lapping you, you know?
Guys, welcome to the Beacon House Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. And for the record, it's whatever you drive, it's okay.
I'm one of your hosts, Casey.
I'm another host, Spence.
I'm Hunter, also a host
Fantastic.
of pancreatic diseases.
Spencer, I'm
going to
show you something.
Okay,
I
I'm
got
ready.
a text message here this last, I guess, Saturday night.
I love being shown
Friday
things.
night. I'm sorry. I got a text Friday night.
You dirty
And,
bitch. You dirty
It's
bitch.
it's from
You're not wrong.
It's from my cousin who lives in South Carolina, and he sent me this flyer. And with the flyer, he texted,
What's his name?
Mitchell.
Mitchell, shout out.
Yeah, he's listened from day one. And he's got my entire family. Are you? Okay, good God, you're just going to town on that bottle.
I'm having some purple drink.
Anyways, yeah. So my cousin Mitchell and his wife Misa have been listening to the podcast from day one.
Okay.
And they've got my entire family on it. Not me.
They haven't
I could
disowned you?
probably no.
That's good.
I could probably be like, tell my family, hey, listen to my podcast. I'm doing this thing, like, support me. And instead, he's like, you guys should listen to it. It's fantastic. It's funny. And I'm like, no, it's not that great. So, anyways,
Gives you a chance to be humble. That's awesome.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you both somehow.
weird. Anyways,
Show me this thing.
I will in a second. So he texts me and says, I found this flyer in the park behind my house. Made me think of you for some reason. And I want you to read this flyer out loud for me, if you would.
Okay.
Don't read it privately first. Just go.
Okay. It says, birds aren't real. Wake up, South Carolina. And then there's a picture of like a fowl, some type of waterfowl. And then it says,
FBI's in on it.
yeah,
Yep.
government surveillance drone. And then it leads a website, birdsaren'treal.com. Have you gone to this website? That's the story that follows. I wish you all could see. Could you put that flyer up on our Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's put it up when the episode drops.
Yeah, absolutely. Birdsaren'treal.com. So apparently back in the 1940s, birds all went away. Here.
Did they
There's-
fly
there's
south
the-
or did they die?
There's the website.
Is this the actual web?
Read it. I've not seen this. Read it, please.
This can't be real.
Read it.
Okay, hang on. Birdsaren'treal.com, a movement. Activism apparel. Want to join the movement? This is just shirts and hats.
They got to find funding somehow.
Birdsaren'treal.com. This is a joke.
Wow.
This has to be a joke because they have a sticker pack, a hoodie. They have like a crew neck. They've got like
So
they've got a beanie.
Apparently, in the 1940s, all the birds died on planet Earth. And now the government has robotic birds that fly around and spy on you.
It says, and I quote, I'm reading from the website, history speaks for itself. We needed a way to keep an eye on the American citizens without them knowing. It was imperative. For their own safety, of course. We hired only the best. It took years. We designed, built, tested, failed. We persisted. Eventually, over decades, we had it. A fleet of covert technological surveillance devices unlike anything the world had ever seen. We call them birds. And that quote is attributed to Richard Nixon in 1978.
Well, if you
And it says, do you want to join the movement? Which obviously just puts you on their mailing list so they can sell you these shirts.
Yep.
Birdsaren'treal.com. I'm
have
ordering
you ever
one.
noticed that birds tweet in Morse code?
Well, that's weird. Birds are tweeting before any of us.
You know what? I quit. This is the last episode of the Beacon House podcast. That was the.
God.
You're not helping. Birds aren't real.
Apparently, birdsaren'treal.com. Everybody go check it out. Wow, I feel like weird now. I feel like I ate something strange.
Can you imagine actually believing, like, you look at a bird and you're like, where's your camera? And like grabbing a bird. Like, you raise chickens. You watch these chickens hatch from
I didn't know
the
you had
eggs.
chickens.
But they're not real.
But none of them are real. The government comes in the middle of the night and puts a computer in that egg, and what hatches is a surveillance drone.
Well, to be fair, vaccines are also part of mind control.
Walk in the ocean. Walk straight into the ocean. Don't come back. You peppermint essential oil.
People
You peppermint essential oil.
people believe so many of these things. This is one reason why like I'm happy to get older and like I don't like I'm glad that I'm on my way out.
No, damn, God.
The world is getting so much
Did you turn
stupider.
into me over this week?
Listen, so I did
He did.
a thing.
Birds aren't real.
Something we discussed way back on this podcast.
Hashtag birds aren't real.
Oh, no.
I don't know what episode it was. We were talking about movies or something.
no.
And I feel like you are the one possibly. It might have been you.
He's pointing at me now, but
I'm
he
pointing
first
at
referenced Casey.
I'm pointing back and forth to Casey and Hunter in tandem.
Not
But
our invisible guest.
somebody mentioned a movie a long time ago, or like a year ago, and it was called The Velocipastor. It was you,
That was
Casey.
Casey.
Okay.
100% Casey.
I also have not watched that movie.
Okay.
He watched it.
You're going.
Spencer watched it.
You're going to now because it's free on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh, is it?
Listen,
I'm watching it tomorrow.
I can't even. It's the lowest budget movie I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Easily, like it makes Toxic Avenger look like Star Wars.
Jesus.
It was on Sci-Fi.
It's so funny. It is so fun, and it doesn't try to be serious. Like it seems at first like it's going to, but then you realize no. This is like the director is laughing. He's pissing himself as the movie plays. After they're done editing it and everything, they're watching it, going, "Can you believe we actually did this?"
It's a pastor that turns into a velociraptor and
Look,
fights ninjas.
But also, when you see him normally, he's only having like these massive like crisis of faith. Like, I can't kill people, can I? It's not according to the scriptures. And he only wears like a tank top and he's like buff. And there's like a romantic interest. But when he doesn't turn into a velociraptor. He turns into the fakest looking dinosaur. Like, you know, those videos of people that are scaring people like at the school in the dinosaur outfit, and it just looks like a pair of parachute pants or something.
Land of the Lost people.
No. Like on the internet, there's that brown dinosaur suit.
Oh, no, I know.
That's what it looks like.
No, but I thought you were going to say it looked like the Land
Except
of the
they
Lost.
splash some like red Kool-Aid on its mouth to make it look like, yes.
Let me see.
That's the final fight scene. Casey just pulled it up on IMDb. That's the final fight scene between the ninjas.
Spencer's not joking. It looks like that brown T-Rex suit.
Listen. If you really want to just be like borderline mad that you're wasting your time and also
what's going on here?
Delighted beyond belief, watch The Velocipastor. I'm going to read you some quotes. This is straight off IMDb. These are some quotes.
Oh my God, there's a pimp.
Listen,
There's a pimp.
Did Richard Lehman write the script?
Listen. That guy, for the record, he gets killed while giving a confession to the Velocipastor. Listen, I'm going to read you some quotes from Velocipastor. I need you guys to really tune in on this. This is real quotes from the fucking movie.
Will this be richer for having listened to Mere Christianity?
Okay, so first off, Doug
No.
Jones.
Is he in it?
Doug Jones is the Velocipastor.
No.
And he says, She says he wakes up in this girl's apartment, and she goes, "You turned into a dinosaur last night and killed a guy that was like trying to rape me or kill me or whatever." And he says, "I don't believe you. Dinosaurs never existed. And even if they did, I don't transform into one." Here's another quote from Doug Jones to the girl. The girl is Carol. That becomes the romantic interest. Turns out she's a hooker. And he says, "You're a hooker?" And Carol responds, "Well, I'm also pre-med law, but people aren't as surprised by that one." These are all quotes from Velocipastor. It's got a searing 5.4, which I think is a little cheap.
Out of 10 or out of 5?
Shut up.
Just the Velocipastor. I don't even have words to describe it.
Is it better than Sharknado?
No.
Is it better than Chud?
No.
Is it better than Us?
Not
No.
Us collectively, with the movie Us.
It's not good. It's so bad that it's good. It's so bad that it's hilarious.
Is it better than The Room?
You've seen The Room, right?
I mean, as an experience, I think it's better than all of those. As just like, oh my God, will you fucking look at this thing?
No.
As an actual movie no, it's the worst movie. I want you guys to watch it just so you can go, oh shit. I think you should watch it together. I wish I was watching it with a friend.
I have
so I could have
much-
gone, oh my
You were
God.
watching it with the cat?
Oh,
Listen,
you God, will you fucking look at that?
I have so much shit I need to watch and catch up on. I don't know when I'll fit that in.
You do.
It's gotten to the point.
I haven't seen a movie in like fucking
Since Endgame.
6 fucking months. Yeah.
It's gotten to the point now where people tell me I need to watch something, and I look at them and I go, I just want to be honest with you. I probably won't watch that for at least a year, and I just want you to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they're
that's
like,
good.
but you need to watch it like now. I was like, nope.
Nope.
I got to watch Outsider first, and also need to watch The Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Outsider's phenomenal. I also heard that new one, the one with Al Pacino, Hunters.
Hunters.
Is supposed to be fucking phenomenal.
I haven't
legendary.
seen a penny from it, but
Supposed to be crazy. I powered
Penny
through
Dreadful.
American Horror Story 1984 all the way through. It got a little weak towards the ending, but it was still hilarious. You know, like
The first 2 episodes. I've only watched the first 2, and they're so good.
it doesn't. It doesn't have a lot of places to go.
Does it collapse under
It goes
its own
back and
weight?
forth throughout time, and it actually part of it resolves in present day, like 2019. You know, but but it's just. It's all the little things that are magical remain magical, and like the finale of it's pretty fucking good.
Did you hear what season 10's called? American Horror Story Cruise.
Oh shit, they're gonna get the coronavirus.
COVID-19.
COVID-19, yeah. They were testing a woman for coronavirus here at Blunt Memorial Hospital.
And she didn't have it.
Yeah, the woman turned out to have negative for coronavirus, but the way she found out about it was by reading it on the news. Like they tested her, they sent her samples off to the CDC, and they never even contacted her. They told her don't go around anybody for 2 weeks, and then they posted on the news she was negative.
Cool.
Isn't that fucking fucked up?
yeah.
Yeah, but a supercomputer has figured out the cure.
Did you
at
read
Oak
that?
Ridge.
Did you see that?
I thought it was at UT.
Well,
No, it's out in Oak Ridge.
turns out it was a UT sponsored program, but it's out at Oak Ridge.
ORNL.
It's the quantum computer, and it's
Is that the
apparently
dimension tide?
apparently it's the most powerful computer in the world.
Yep.
And it runs calculations that are equivalent of 100,000 laptops all working in tandem or something.
Yep.
Something crazy like
It's
that.
insane. And it apparently has figured out exactly how to cure the coronavirus.
Well, they haven't tested it yet. They don't.
I think they're just going to push it through.
Well, they said that according to the article, yeah. So potentially a vaccine for coronavirus has maybe been discovered here in Tennessee, out in Oak Ridge. Another thing happened in Oak Ridge this week that we'll talk about.
Ooh. Okay.
But yeah. Apparently these guys, and you'd have to read this. You can look this up easily. I didn't memorize their names, but it's a program that's affiliated with the University of Tennessee.
And both of those guys have the flu, which is ironic.
They've actually it slowed them down working on it because they were sick. But they started analyzing it using this supercomputer that's insane, and it came up with something that was potentially a vaccine that might work. And they have to test it in Memphis, and if it works, instead of they're going to push it through and try to make the vaccine relatively quick. So there's hope for anybody that does have the coronavirus, or the people that are stuck on that cruise ship, or I read today that they are doing something in Italy. Did you see that? They're actually proceeding with a quarantine in Italy right now.
Honestly,
They're proceeding with a quarantine?
Yeah, it's or something. Yeah,
If they-
again, look it up. But that was in the news today. Italy is actually doing the thing that we thought wouldn't happen is happening right now in Italy.
I think what would be a great idea, starting out, is just cancel all flights completely. No more air travel, because being stuck
Yeah.
in that aluminum foil tube and
Right.
just having the same recycled air pump through is spreading it quicker than anything else.
Well, and,
International flights, I'd say,
and I thought too.
no, all flights. Just cancel them all.
for 2 weeks.
Just for 2 weeks. How much damage would that do you think?
That depends on who you're
I
asking.
don't
Plenty
know.
of people would say the end of the world.
I don't know. Think how many flights go out every single day.
I know.
For various.
At least 100.
Well, and a lot of things travel by plane, like supplies. Mm-hmm. It's not just people on planes. There's a lot of freight, and I don't know what the effect of canceling flights would be, but I know that when 9/11 happened and they grounded all flights leaving the U.S., it was a big deal for like a day. So canceling all flights for 2 weeks, I don't know that you could do that. I think they probably met people are getting medicine and stuff.
Well, if we find a way to make all flights look like they're voting Republican, cancel culture will take care of that for us.
Shit. That's good.
Casey's
Also,
mad at me right now.
Well, another scary thing too. It turns out that coronavirus is spread through the air too, up to 6 meters. So if you're within 6 meters of somebody,
I feel
that
like
has
you
it-
read a bunch of stuff on the internet.
No,
You did.
we looked it up on the actual CDC. Did you guys get the website I sent you?
Yeah.
That it tracks it in real time for the
Yeah.
CDC. It's official.
it said to watch the happening.
It's not
too.
like the Huffington Post. It was like the real stats. So unlike, for instance, Ebola, which was way more deadly than coronavirus, Ebola was only active up to about 1 meter. So
Yeah.
if you didn't get much closer than we are right now, you didn't touch somebody and you washed your hands, you're pretty safe from Ebola.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in this room with somebody with coronavirus, you can catch it even if you don't touch them, and even if you wash your hands like 85 times.
Oh well.
So again,
That's what
just bringing updates. Like when we did that show about the coronavirus, we were still learning about it.
Yeah.
So in the last week, we've actually learned a lot of things. It's changed a little bit. And
I still feel like us three in this room shouldn't be as
Fine.
terrified.
I'm not
as-
terrified.
Oh, no, yeah.
I'm just giving you stats on it. I'm ready for it.
Knoxville listeners should just accept
Well,
that
there's a
it's
case
not
in
that
Memphis
bad.
and there's a case in Nashville.
Yeah, I think the person in Memphis is maybe who they're testing the vaccine on.
No.
I have no reason to think, but
But we're a spot in the country where the interstate crosses the cardinal directions in all ways, so we have heavy traffic. So just the
Sure.
likelihood of it getting here is high. So just wash your hands.
I mean, definitely be careful. But that's
Yeah.
updates on the coronavirus, possibly a vaccine, and maybe it came out of Oak Ridge.
I think I should be the most worried, as many people as I come into contact with on a daily basis.
It's weird if you think about how easy it is for something like that to spread. Like that, when you start thinking about that, like people can get in, even if you ground flights, people can get in their car and drive anywhere. And not everybody is like, somebody might get it at the hardware store and they may live way down the country and they may just drive somewhere and then that person gets on a plane, 30 people get it, all 30 of those people go somewhere. So stuff can totally spread. I'm very much think that avoiding it is probably a less likely solution than having a vaccine.
I think avoiding it is impossible.
Yeah.
That depends. Like if you mean
I think you need to be
avoiding
ready.
it is
They
that
need
you
to
won't
figure it out and be
contract
ready for
but
it.
Yeah.
Just to hope that it doesn't. I don't touch a desk and it's on there. At some point it's going to continue to spread. But
Especially using paper money right now.
Well, and I was
Sure.
I was talking to my brother, and he thinks it's going to go the way of the bird flu, where
Super scary for 6 months. And
well, no, like when the bird flu happened, it was a scare for like a month and a half, and then summer hit and it went away because it got hot out and the germs kind of like died off. So what have it? But then fall came around and it hit harder than it ever hit before.
oh, that's
In the
possible,
fall,
yeah.
it came back rampant.
that's strange. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that said, please take the virus seriously and wash your hands and be careful and understand that it is transmittable up to 6 meters and just do your fucking homework.
Blah,
If you
blah,
get
blah.
it, take 2 Tylenol, drink a lot of water, and get
Man,
some sleep.
I'll say this: like, it's serious enough now to where a lot of our technology at work is now starting to flash warnings and stuff. Like on our scheduling website and stuff. Like, there's a big flash warning. Like they said, if people are sick, don't let them come to work.
Yeah.
And like the screens are starting to display little messages reminding you to refill your hand sanitizer and wash hands a lot. That changed literally like the beginning of last week. So it is getting way more serious. But take it seriously. Be careful. Watch yourself. We don't want to lose any listeners. We love you guys. Something else happened in Oak Ridge. And our buddy, shout out Will Bodock from Central Depot. We need to get back there and hang out with him. He texted me. He misses us. He wants us to come do another podcast. I mean, we need to hang out with Will. Anyway, he posted an article, and they found a 95-year-old Nazi, like a guy that had worked at one of the concentration camps in Oak Ridge. Mm-hmm. He's 95. He's been living in the community for years and years and years. Everybody loves him. He's an American citizen, like pillar of the community. Little old man, like And turns out he was just convicted by like a federal court of war crimes back in like 1943. And they pulled him out of his house and sent him back to Germany.
Huh.
And there's apparently there's a big rush with the government to do that kind of thing because a lot of the people that were in World War II are now passing away. Like they're not going to live much longer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a whole big thing, and I was going to read a little bit of the quote from it. Sorry.
I feel like a lot of Germans live in Oak Ridge because that's, or at least people who had relatives who came from Germany during World War II. Because when it was when New York or Oak Ridge was the secret city, and they were working on the Manhattan Project, I feel like there was a lot of Austrian and German scientists.
Yeah, we borrowed a lot of those scientists. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking it up right now. But it made me feel, I had mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, I think my
Dude's
opinion on
98.
that's going to get me in trouble.
Dude.
Leave him alone.
Mission to hunt Nazi. It's New York Times, which I'm not sure how much I trust them, but it was March 7th of this year, Oak Ridge, Tennessee. He'd lived there for decades, and you can see the guy's little house. He just had like a little normal house in a subdivision. The mission to hunt Nazis has become a race against time because they're all going to die. And 94-year-old Tennessee man said to have been a guard at a concentration camp in Germany. And it said his name was Frederick Karl Berger, and he was ordered by a federal judge this week to return to Germany, where he had served as a guard in a Nazi concentration camp.
That was like 80 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, there's not really a statute of limitations for genocide, though.
No, I mean, I understand. I'm not saying like that excuses that part,
Well, no.
but people can change. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
And he's so near death, there's like no point in.
That's my point. Is he's
Yeah.
98 years old, so no matter what happens to him, he's still got a life. He had a life from start to finish, and
Yeah, this is vengeance at this point. There's
And
no
it was the
justice
Human
involved.
Rights Special Prosecution Unit that issued a removal order against the guy. And they said Mr. Berger made his choice to enlist in 1943. And he made his choice to work in that camp. Now, somebody got an interview with the guy, and he said, I was forced to work in that camp. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was forced into the Army. And apparently they didn't give a fuck. They were just like, you're leaving the country. So 95 years old, where's he going to go? What's he going to do when he gets back to Germany? Like,
die probably.
Probably.
I mean, I don't know. It says the government has brought forth 133 such cases in the last 4 decades, and they won 109 of them.
I don't know if you guys remember, but about a month ago, I told you about a documentary on Netflix that touches on this specifically happening
Is it
in
really?
Germany right now. Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but just look up World War II on Netflix.
They said in 2018, a guy named Jacques Pellige, a former Nazi guard turned New York resident, was deported in 2018. He was 95, and they had to use a stretcher to wheel the guy out of his home in Queens and put him on an air ambulance for Dusseldorf, Germany.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is people trying to get vengeance while they still can, and that bothers me.
And this guy was a widower. He had lost his wife, and he had 2 grandchildren. After 75 years, he said, "You're forcing me out of my home. This is ridiculous." I don't know.
I feel like whoever's playing this game of hide and go seek's cheating. Like, how are they just now finding these people?
It's a way to make sure that people don't associate the current administration with
I will say
Nazis.
the dude in Oak Ridge. Can you imagine? Like, I wonder if he had the accent.
I don't know, but
Like, if
after
he came out
80 years, I doubt it.
Well, no, like after 80 years, like he came out and everyone was like, "Hey, Mr. Berger," and he was like, "Hello, children."
well, there is a big thing about people like German, occupants that did come to this country to escape Germany after the war and did blend into society, and they may be living in the communities right now.
I think that's what that Amazon Prime show
Is that what it's about?
Hunters is about, hunting Nazis
I'm pretty
gotcha.
sure, yeah.
in the
gotcha.
70s, I think.
Well,
That was their big push to South America is when they realized that they had gone there. It's the
Yeah.
60s and 70s, and that's when
It
that's
just
a whole
seems-
other thing. But
look, man, I'm not saying that it's okay to be a Nazi. Obviously, just the idea that some of these people. What do you think? I mean, do you think there's a possibility of retro? Do you think a 95-year-old guy that's been an American citizen and doesn't live like that anymore, and maybe never even killed anybody, maybe was just a guard at some camp, born in that town, forced into the military, the end of the war, came to America, became a citizen, loves America, had a wife and a kid, and they had kids, and At 95, do you think the guy should be drug out of his home and sent back?
No. I think that's...
Once again, is there a statute of limitations on genocide?
Also,
On participating in the murder of millions of people just because of their religion or the way they live their lives.
But that's not the same thing. What I'm saying is, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, do you think it's right?
Yeah.
You think it's fine for him to drag this guy, even if he never killed anybody?
Kinda.
Even if he was forced into the military and he just stood there trying not to get killed himself?
How can he prove that? How can he prove he was forced?
He can't. But in the...
But you can't
that's
prove
hearsay.
the other. That's the problem, though. You're right.
But he was participating in something.
Yeah.
And they have proof that he was a member of Germany, like military force, Nazi, whatever, what have you.
He
That's
was part of the Nazi party. Yeah.
Right. They have proof of that. They can't prove his intentions while he was there, but they can prove he was part of it, and that also makes him guilty.
It's just...
Yeah, but this came up at lunch today, and it was kind of discussing the social disease of, like, regardless of what you have actually done to change who you are, decades down the road, even in this case, or less so in the case of me versus who I was in high school, everybody has done horrible things, and that's not equating it to the genocide. Point being, if you genuinely changed and genuinely became a better person and even a pillar of your community or whatever, we're now in an age at the moment where if someone doesn't like you, they can search social media or whatever other thing they want
I highly doubt
and
this was
dig
found
up
on social media.
Well, yeah, but that's apart from the example, but that they can find any dirt they want, and then they will put that dirt, smear it across a flag, plant it in your front yard, and get picketers. And
it's basically we're in the age
like,
of nobody's ever clear of past crimes.
There is no redemption.
First of all,
that's kind of my point. So to me, that's...
But there's a difference. Like if somebody were to dig up something on your social media that you said some off-colored shit, and then they're like smearing you across, that's different than participating in a group that performed mass murder on people just because of what they believed.
And I think my point to you was that like they didn't all do that.
But how do you know they all didn't?
So in any hierarchy, if you've ever seen like a company of people or a unit that works together. So for instance, do you know who Rommel, the German general Rommel was?
Yeah.
He killed millions of people. He gave the orders to kill millions of people. I mean, he was a very bad guy. He went into Egypt and fucked Egypt up, and he was a terrible dude. That guy's got blood on his hands. No question about it.
Also not beyond redemption in my eyes, though. I think that's possible for everybody.
See,
but that's a faith thing, though.
No. And faith,
to be totally fair, that colors it.
Theologically, I believe the same. But there's a lot of difference between being arrested at like 50 or 40 or 30 and being arrested at 95.
I also feel like if I was arrested, I thought it was 98. Was it 95 or
the
98?
The person in Queens was 98. This guy's actually 94, I think.
That's like the difference
But
between
here's the thing,
11:57 and midnight.
But if you see a 90-year-old guy in the grocery store, you fucking hold the door for him. You go, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Here, let me help you with your bag."
But here's also the thing. If I was arrested at 95 for a crime I committed 75 years ago, I would go, had a good run. I got caught, though.
That's fair.
I think the most unfortunate part of this is that his family now has to live with the public knowing that their grandfather was a Nazi.
Because they probably didn't even know. But when they were born, he was probably just a guy living in Oak Ridge, working at like a factory or something.
So it's more unfortunate for them having to have this smeared across their name and now be associated with something like that. So I just wanted to put that out there that I don't feel like there's anybody who's above the law. You commit a crime
unless there's Steven Seagal.
Shut up.
Steven Seagal above the law. Another classic. It's about as good as Velocipastor.
No,
what do you got? Got anything else before we wrap up?
No.
Wash your hands.
No, I'm kind of bummed out now.
Oh, stop being a weenie.
Wash your hands of all that guilt, all that blood that's on them.
Wash your hands of that Nazi guilt and that coronavirus.
Wash them clean.
It's easy to die, folks.
Hey, maybe that guy on his way over to Germany will get pneumonia.
He might. He might get coronavirus. We have to worry about any of it. And then he'll have to convict that virus.
Yeah.
Run that piece of shit out of Oak Ridge.
That's the supercomputer is doing.
This whole time I thought you were going to tell us about some like teleportation portal that got opened up finally.
No, but how I didn't know.
I mean, that's what that guy was working on. He's trying to get Hitler back.
I didn't know we had a fucking crazy supercomputer in Oak Ridge.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
You didn't know that?
I didn't know about it.
I've got friends that work in Oak
I mean,
Ridge.
I knew there's a lot of crazy things in Oak Ridge, obviously.
Well, they're doing that one thing where they're trying to test if there's parallel universes out in Oak Ridge.
Mm-hmm. What?
Mirrored
didn't know about that?
universes.
What?
It was like an electron or an atom, something tiny like that. And there is a discrepancy in its like DNA sequencing or whatever.
Whoa.
I'm getting a lot of the terms wrong, but I read this article 6 months ago.
Oh, see,
but there was a thing where it like vibrated at the wrong frequency somehow when it came back through. And they were like, that doesn't make sense unless there were two of it at the same time. Those of you that work out there, I know I'm getting the details wrong. I'm just trying to get the point across. But it happened and they were like...
Basic story. So they're studying parallel universes in Oak Ridge?
They're trying to contact them.
If they find another universe, they need to go to Magic Walk and
that's what they're saying.
Send some of that food into the other universe.
Because
Or
of this...
Because I guarantee you, there's only one. There's only one
They also
Magic
need to
Walk.
find the Berenstein Bears and make sure it's spelled the correct way there.
Fuck those bears.
That's gross.
Give me a copy of Shazam with Sinbad as a genie.
Anything else? Any good news this week, guys?
No.
Sorry I brought up that Nazi guy.
It's okay.
No, I actually think it's a great topic.
But one of the things that's got me thinking about this is I pointed out that the C.S. Lewis fucking masterpiece is on YouTube, and we're listening to the part where he talks about soldiers and stuff, you know.
That's where I just paused it.
And he makes a really big distinction between killing
and murdering.
Mm-hmm. And they're not the same thing, you know. And like sometimes it's a soldier's duty to kill. And even back in like the time of like, you know, Jesus or whatever, he hung out with soldiers and centurions and he never condemned them. He never said you should quit the army.
Yeah.
He never said you should stop defending your country or whatever like that. But he condemned murder, like murdering somebody in cold blood. And so there's a difference somewhere. You know what I mean? Maybe, if you believe it.
That's the thing that I've loved about the book so far the most.
What do you think?
Is like the way it identifies with the way I intellectually approach all that stuff.
Yes.
But the middle of the ground answer where he addresses both sides constantly and goes, but because of that, people tend to ignore this part. And he brought up patriotic pride. He was like, a sense of nationalism and patriotic pride is a good answer if someone asks if you're a patriot. But, you know, they may also ignore you and think that you're a warmongering idiot if you stop there, or the exact opposite if you go. But over that, I think it's better to have universal moral neutrality. And
he also says in that book, should Christian people write their beliefs into legislation? He says, no, I don't think they should.
And I agree.
You can't govern a whole country as if they're members of your church. Shout out to anybody and our listeners. I know we've got a couple of them, at least a couple of them in Nashville. We're glad that you guys are okay.
Yeah.
I can't speak to what it was like to be in Nashville, but I definitely have friends that live there, and luckily all the people I know are okay. And those tornadoes fucked Nashville a lot bad. But I will say I have a weird story about that night. I had come home from work late and fallen asleep instantly around 9 o'clock. And I woke up at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, holy shit. I felt weird. So I got up in the middle of the night. I had a lot of stuff I needed to do. Laundry. Like I need to fucking sweep. You know, my place was a fucking disaster because I worked too much. So I'm up in the middle of the night cleaning. And I was listening to that audiobook. Yeah. I was listening to the C.S. Lewis audiobook, so I'm getting all this fucking raging theology, and I'm just having this big Zen fucking intellectual moment, like probably scraping a cat tray, you know? And my phone starts making all these noises. And I'm looking, and it says, take shelter, there's a tornado in your area. And right when my phone went off and said all that shit, my whole fucking house started shaking.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The wind, because it came through the storm, the same storm that destroyed Nashville, came through Cookeville and came right through North Knoxville and went right down Clinton Highway where I live.
I woke up at like 4 a.m. and it was just like crazy wind outside and raining.
I thought I was done for. And later I realized, because eventually when I didn't die, I went and turned the news on, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and they were tracking, and there were circular wind patterns in Knoxville. They just didn't touch. So the tornadoes did come through Knoxville. They just didn't land and destroy everything. There were 50-mile-an-hour winds. And I kept fucking looking outside to see if the cats were out there, if they were okay. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, God.
But I thought that might be it. I really did. I was like, well, this could be. But I had fucking C.S. Lewis going on the audiobook. And I was
and you had to burn the city sticker.
Yeah. And I was like, well, like we talked about before, with the last podcast about dying, I was like, if I have to pay the check. This will be it, But it was like funny that I was listening to like theology when it might have happened, and then luckily we were safe. But I feel terrible about everybody in Nashville. But that was I did feel a scare from that tornado thing.
Did you?
And it was weird that I was up at that time of night.
Did you hear watch the video of the guy in the crane? He was like in a 300-foot crane.
No.
And it shows him like sitting in the crane booth, like 300 feet in the air, and he's looking out of the cityscape, and you just see the tornado. Every time it lightnings, you just see the tornado moving across.
Jesus Christ!
And he's right there at it. It's insane how close he is to it.
A friend of mine was one block over from where its path, like it tore up everything, literally the next street over from her.
That's insane.
Just insanity. Total insanity. So we're glad you guys are okay. Shout out to Nashville.
That's the only thing I'm ever really petrified of is tornadoes. Tornadoes are so violent and deadly and unpredictable.
Super unpredictable. Like they will do tornadoes. We've probably talked about this, but they've been known to drive a broom straw into a telephone pole, to pick a cow or a human up and set them down miles away unhurt.
Can you imagine being an alien and landing on this planet and just like one day you're exploring an open field and you just see this big tunnel of wind just with debris just going across? I'd be terrified.
Mother, it's been so long, Mother. Come to me.
Can we end it now? I just want to fucking go home. I just want to go home. I want to go get the coronavirus.
Cyclone that gives birth.
Casey's like, can we go ahead and stop? I got to go I got a date with the coronavirus.
Take me to your leader.
No, never mind.
Take me.
I hate you.
Take me.
Oh, my.